Well, how much concern is there in Hamilton? Jeremiah Masoli and the Tiger Cats looked great on their opening drive. It was 7-play, 89 yards that ended up in a TD. But that was it when they lost to the Bombers. Now on the flip side, Cody Fajardo and the Riders, their season opener was against the BC Lions. A tale of two halves as well, up 31-0. But that game ended 33-29. They couldn't get a thing going in the second half. What a game, though, to end week 2 in the CFL. Welcome inside the CFL on TSN Studios. I'm Kate Burness. This is Jim Barker, Davis Sanchez, and joining us remotely, it is Matt Dunnigan and Milt Stegall as we get set for this heavyweight matchup on a Saturday evening. And Ches, I will begin with you. And as we said earlier in SportsCenter, I mean, there is so much pressure on the Hamilton Tiger Cats after that great season in 2019, coming up short in the Grey Cup. They host the Grey Cup. And then they roll into Winnipeg, and the Bombers just absolutely had their way with them. How much pressure is on Hamilton to win this game tonight?
Yeah, that's a team that believes in themselves. I don't think the Ticats feel like the world is over when they lost to Winnipeg. And they're going up against the team tonight in the Riders, who I think is a top 4 team in this league. If you look at the best teams in the West right now, I think you got to look at Sask and Winnipeg. And when I look at still after week 1, when I look at who I consider the top teams in the East, I look at Hamilton still, and I look at Montreal from what I just saw from them. So, look, there's pressure, Kate, because this team wants to win, and they're a proud bunch, and they got their butts whooped. But this is a team I think is still, one of the top teams in this league regardless. I look forward to seeing how they bounce back.
But they've made some changes. They lost to arguably the best defense in the league, and they're taking out Marcus Tucker. They're and replacing him with Pappy White. They're taking out Jalen Marshall, replacing him with Tim White. So they're making changes on the offensive line. Trevon Tate, they're sitting him down. They're moving Jesse Gibbons back, move Okafor over to play left tackle. So they're a completely different team this week. Yeah. So hopefully they're not panicking, but 4 changes and most of them not injury related. One is Marcus Tucker not feeling well.
Now, meanwhile, with Saskatchewan, I mentioned it off the top, Milt, but they looked so good in that first half. Everyone was just riding high with the Rough Riders, but then absolutely nothing in the second. And BC Lions nearly came back to win this game. Is there any concern after that second half in their opener?
Well, you know what? When you look at the big picture, there shouldn't be, because their ultimate goal is to what? Win the game. But when you play halves like that, where you dominate and score over 30 points in the first half, and you come out in the second half and you can't bust a grape, there's concern. And the concern I still have, like I did last week, is that offensive line. They had to make another change. And BC defensive line was okay, but this Hamilton defensive line, they're a beast. You talk about Hauser and Dylan Wynn and Jagarrett Davis, and you can stick Simone Lawrence. They bring him up there. So offensive coordinator Jason Moss, he's going to have to devise an even better plan, because I know the Hamilton Tiger Cats have looked at that second half and saw what the BC Lions were able to do to them, and they're going to try to do the same thing starting at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, Milt, I think it's natural, too, to kind of take your foot off the gas when you got a huge lead like they had. I like what Craig Dickinson had to say after the ball game, and the head coach simply said, hey, we dropped a few balls that could have sustained drives and changed the whole momentum of the last 30 minutes of play. But you saw what Michael O'Reilly did with his poor arm and not being able to push the ball down the field. You saw what Michael O'Reilly did to Calgary this past week when his arm was feeling better. So tip your hat to the BC Lions for coming out and turning the tables on the Saskatchewan Roughriders. But a lesson learned, that doesn't cost them anything, because they still got the W. They can learn from this, and they will. I think they'll pound the football. I think Jason Moss will be more aggressive with his playing call, and I think everybody can take away something from that win that they had last week.
Chesy, I got to ask, after that very stressful over-under in the first game, have we taken a look at any numbers for this one this evening?
No, I'm going to sit back and enjoy this one. I think my stress level, my doctor told me to eat easy.
You stressed me out.
Yeah, you stressed all of us. We didn't want to tell you, we actually had an ISO camera at one point, and if they did hit the over, we were going to run it, but we won't. No, we won't run the.
Like to buy a watch?
I would not like to buy that watch. It's week 2. He's already selling his watch. May I have the shoes as well? Absolutely. All right, Tiger Cats Rough Riders wrapping up week 2 in the CFL. Kickoff coming up next.
What you're made of and how bad you want it, when the stakes are high and the lights are on you, and the weight of the world's on your back. You dig your boots on it while you're under pressure in overtime. Built strong enough to hold the
Robert Sharon of Maple Ridge, BC. This is your chance to win big thanks to Save on Foods' $1 million touchdown to win. If a kickoff is returned for a TD, you could win groceries for a year. If two are returned, you could also win $1 million. Good luck, Robert. Here's Dustin Nielsen and Dwayne Ford.
It's a toasty Saturday night in Regina, still 28 degrees as we creep towards kickoff and get set to wrap up week 2. The Rough Riders looking for a 2-0 start at home, while the Ticats searching for some answers offensively after putting up just 6 points in a week 1 loss against the Bombers.
One of the keys to getting that offense going will no doubt be Speedy B. The league's reigning MOP with over 1,500 yards in 2019 looks to get the Cats going and looking to keep him and other Ticat receivers in check. Nick Marshall, who in week 1 had his 4th career pick 6.
Craig Dickinson 13-5 in his first season as head coach back in 2019. Like that last win last week, because there's a lot to learn from the victory with the way they played in the second half. A lot of things they can get better at. Obviously an excellent season last year, 15-3, tying the record for wins by a rookie coach for Orlando Steinauer and of course his team. Great drive to open up the game last week, and then really nothing else offensively. The crowd here at Mosaic is fired up. It's a late Saturday night start. Dustin Nielsen and Dwayne Ford with you as we are set to go. Nice schedule to start the year here for the Riders. 4 games at home. An opportunity to put themselves in a good spot as this ball will come down to Purifoy. Purifoy works his way back up to about the 24, and we'll get a look at Cody Fajardo.
Cody Fajardo led all Canadian Football League quarterbacks in victories last season with 12, picked up right where he left off. You see at the bottom of the graphic. Started last game with 15 consecutive completions, completing 80% of his passes on the evening against BC.
Franchise record for Fajardo, and they were excellent to start last week, and then obviously things falling off the rails a little bit in the second half. Still picked up that victory, and now look to add another one here, and they will start on their own at 25, 1st and 10 for Fajardo. Moves that ball quickly. What a catch here in the early going. Shaq Evans lunging up and coming down with a big pickup on the first play of the game.
Well, Fajardo to Evans established itself in 2019 as one of the CFL's most dangerous combinations. You see it right here, real breakout year for Evans, who picks up 18 on the play with that tremendous grab.
Excellent way to start the football game for Fajardo and his #1 target. Now they'll hand it off and they'll push ahead here. And that'll be a decent first down pickup of 5 for William Powell, and we'll take a look at this Riders offense.
Yeah, you see what has been a rebuilt offensive line, and this week, Andrew Lauderdale at left tackle gets his first career CFL start. He'll see a lot of Jagared Davis, so tough matchup coming in. Braden Linnaeus, the second-year Canadian, had his first career CFL touchdown in week 1. It's been one of the big stories for them since training camp.
2nd and 5 on their own 48. Fajardo down the field. That's complete. Riders marching early. Kyron Moore, but there is a flag back at the 48. And this one may be coming back.
That was a completed pass, right? Offside. Scratch number 85. It's 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
Who made the catch, also the guilty party here.
Yeah, he's the receiver up on the line of scrimmage. Getting a little bit of an early jump here.
Fajardo willing to take some shots downfield here in the early going. A reset at the 43. Fajardo. Good time again, downfield again, and reaching for it, lunging towards it was Evans, but he could not get that right hand on it. And that will bring out the punt team led by John Ryan here for the home side.
A more aggressive start throwing the ball for Saskatchewan than they had in week 1. Looking back in their game against BC, yes, they definitely threw the ball a lot, but really didn't push it down the field until probably about 25 minutes into the game. A lot of quick passes to start things off, so definitely wanted to be a little bit more aggressive coming out of the gate here, feeling like they didn't so much need to settle into any kind of groove.
Ryan stands on his 30 as that penalty forces the Riders offense off the field. This will be taken at the 10, a 56-yard kick. Williams, a little bit of a stutter step, pushed out at the 20. Jeremiah Masoli, great start to the season last week as he found Ackland for a touchdown on their first drive. He'll look to duplicate that when he gets the ball coming up next.
And you took the under. This is what happened.
And then can I see the Mondo stuff?
Maya Mazzoli, just over 240 yards last week, couple of picks. Like I said earlier, started pretty well, probably not happy with the rest of the game, but one of the things that Steinauer told us early, got to protect him a little bit better, give him some more time. We'll start here with 3 targets to his left. Sean Thomas Erlington into his right, and he'll give it to Erlington. And he pushes ahead. And that one gets up to about the 25. We'll take a look here at the Ticats starting offense, brought to you by Expedia.
Yeah, Jim Barker alluded to this in the pregame juggling of the offensive line, primarily triggered by the welcome return of Chris Van Zyl at the right tackle spot. In that receiving core, you've got the Whites coming in. Poppy and Tim White draw in at the slot back positions along with Brandon Banks. All smaller receivers working out of the slot.
2nd and 6 after a pickup of 4. Everybody to the left here for Mazzoli. That's where he goes. That's complete, and that's enough for a first down as he moved that ball very quickly to Kalinic. Didn't have a touch last week. 12-yard pickup.
And the big fullback, Nikola Kalinic, getting involved. You'll see the Ticats use a lot of different personnel packages, particularly as the season goes on, using tight end, fullback types a little bit more than other teams tend to do.
Kalinic last year, 12 catches, did have a touchdown. Now Mazzoli, is he going to go downfield here early? Guns went over top, was looking for Banks. And that was over the head of Speedy B as we get a look at the Riders D.
And as always, keep an eye on Big Micah Johnson from his defensive tackle spot. Linebacker Dion Lacey, a welcome addition, former Edmonton Football Club member, getting an opportunity to start with Larry Dean out of the lineup. The secondary anchored by veterans in Edem, Gainey, and Marshall.
Crowd here trying to make things difficult for Mazzoli and this Ticats offense. Back at his 25 here, pressured, spins away from it, is able to find a target. That's his running back, who had found some room, Thomas Erlington. It will not be enough, and once again, it'll be a punt here on the first possession of the game. Saw it for the Riders, now we see it for the Ticats.
A nice escape here for Jeremiah Masoli, but under too much pressure really to get himself reset and redirect his eyes down the field. Basically just trying to limit the loss in that situation.
Keon Adams was in attack mode there, the rookie out of Western Michigan. This will be taken at the 40. Back to the 35 now, trying to find some room is Marcus Murphy. Murphy's able to swing it outside. There's a flag at the end of that play there. Cody Fajardo started with 15 consecutive completions last week. Get another crack at it here.
Late flag thrown on the play, that going against Saskatchewan linebacker Nigel Harris as he gives punter Joel Whitford his welcome to the CFL moment.
Picking on the punter.
Yeah.
My goodness. Well, that will back them up. They will start on their own 29 here for Cody Fajardo, who came out willing to go downfield on that first possession. Had a big completion to Shaq Evans. Had another one to Kyron Moore that was brought back because Moore was offside. But they'll start here on the 29. Dustin Nielsen and Dwayne Ford with you on a Saturday night, wrapping up week 2 here at the CFL on TSN. 4 receivers to the left for Fajardo. That is where he will go, and that is completed out to the 40. Now cutting into the middle of the field, still some room to go. It's Kyron Moore again. And Moore will take it down to the Saskatchewan 54. This offense moving the ball pretty well here in the early going.
Yeah, one of the things you'll see with Jason Moss as their offensive coordinator is there will be lots of touches for everybody and much variety in the way each of them gets the ball. We saw Moore downfield earlier. Now getting it to him close to the line of scrimmage and just letting him go to work.
24-yard pickup for Moore. This is a completion on the far side of the field, and that'll give us time to take a look at the starting defense for the Ticats.
And keep an eye, of course, on Jagarrett Davis, one of the top pass rushers for this group. They are without Dylan Wynn in the interior. We should also see a little bit of Ted Laurent rotating in his first game of the season. Javon Santos Knox comes over from Edmonton to take the middle linebacker spot. The back end.
That last completion to Lenius, who caught all 3 targets last week, 1 for a touchdown. Here's Fajardo now. He might try to scoop that over, but decides to hang on. Gets it up to the 50. But that will bring up 3rd down with just a pickup of a couple for Fajardo. Not afraid to use his legs.
Looks like it'll be the punt team kicking for field position as opposed to attempting the long field goal. Try and get an edge in that field position battle early in the game. We'll see if John Ryan can go coffin corner here.
Frankie Williams waiting just inside his own 10 for this kick from Ryan. Ryan heading to that corner. Williams goes over there. Picked by Ryan, taken at the 10. There is a flag. And they'll eventually gang tackle Williams out of bounds at around the 12-yard line. Garrett Davis, he's going to be a handful tonight, as he always is. CFL Week 3 gets underway Thursday with a battle between the Elks and the Lions. Coverage will begin at 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 Pacific, only on TSN. The crowd here, it's a warm evening. I know we topped out like 34 degrees here today in Regina. Here's Mazzoli. Hands it off. That'll be a pickup of about 2 or 3 into the hands of Sean Thomas Erlington.
Taking a look back to week 1, Jeremiah Masoli, who was limited to only 6 starts. First 6 starts this season back in 2019 due to a knee injury. His first action in some time. Got off to a good start. You saw the touchdown pass there to Jalen Ackman. Offense bogged down a little bit after that, but I think we've seen in general, offense they're going to experience slower starts in the D coming out of the gate.
Haven't seen anything from Ackman yet. Here tonight, his number 1 target last week. Here's Masoli. Near side. Big hit there. Pops. Just outside the 12 was Tim White playing in his first game. And Luchez Purifoy saying welcome to the league.
Yeah, from our vantage point up above, you could see this one coming in slow motion. Good effort by Tim White to hang on to that football under a huge hit.
Whitford now has to kick it away. There's a flag that flies just as he lets her go. This is going to be taken at the 25 by Marcus Murphy. Murphy makes one-man miss, eventually tracked down after a 53-yard kick. Murphy averaged about 14 yards per return last week.
Procedure, Saskatchewan number 58 lining over top of the center. This is a 5-yard penalty. Result of play, it's first down.
And this is a new rule this season, that taking extra steps, I suppose you would say, in terms of protecting long snappers. where past years they've added the rule of not being allowed to hit the long snapper when he's got his head down. Now you can't even line up, head up, or even within sort of the shoulder pads, within the frame.
He's got that clear
snapper.
space right in front of him.
Yeah.
So what this does is it means the offense for the Ticats gets to come back on the field. So a pretty big penalty here early in this ball game as we are still scoreless at Mosaic. Just over 6 minutes to play here in the opening quarter. Fresh set of downs for Jeremiah Mazzoli. 4 receivers to the wide side of the field for number 8, White. He'll hand it off, a quick spin move, and there is nowhere to go. Maybe a yard, possibly 2 on the play for Thomas Erlington, who had 9 carries last week.
Just taking a look back at the alignment. So basically, from left shoulder to right shoulder, you can't be aligned within that space anywhere. And there you see Herdman Reed right on the hash mark. The ball's right on the hash mark. Can't be there, thus the flag and the reprieve for the Hamilton offense.
Pretty good job by this Riders defense so far here tonight. 2nd and 9 for Mazzoli. Pressure coming now. Gets it away. That's the first catch of the career for Poppy White. He'll take it up past midfield. Biggest play of the game offensively here for the Ticats after that penalty allowed them to stay on the field.
Poppy White, the former Ohio University star, making his CFL debut here. Once again, the Tiger Cats juggling the roster, particularly that receiving core. Marcus Tucker and Jalen Marshall, a couple of second-year men, played last week. Poppy White and Tim White, both first-year CFLers, draw in here in week 2.
17-yard pickup for Poppy White. Mazzoli running, gets this one away. Pressure came immediately. They were trying to set something up there for Thomas Erlington, but it never really had time to develop.
Well, just the look of it, Mazzoli knew the pressure was going to be coming, the nature of the play, in trying to draw that rush upfield, but I think it got on top of him even quicker than he expected.
That'll bring up 2nd and 10. Mazzoli, 5 completions already in this game, and there is some early movement. Dacey Leonard, who wanted to go.
Offside. Saskatchewan number 6. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
AC Leonard making his return to the green and white.
5 penalties in this game. All of them have come against the Riders. I think last week they only had 7 in total, one of them on the offensive side of the ball, but 5 penalties so far here in this game, and that has allowed the Ticats to build a little bit of momentum. Mazzoli here now. A ton of time. Finally gets it away, and it is bobbled by Banks. Had it. Looked like he might have had it a second time and then falls to the turf. Would have been enough for a first down as well.
You'll see Banks right on the hash mark as he's swirling back in. He's kind of working back towards the line of scrimmage, trying to adjust to that ball that was thrown just slightly inside. Obviously a catchable ball, but he got caught with his hands in an awkward spot. Sort of making the basket catch when he would have wanted thumbs together on that one.
Whitford stands on his own 45. Marcus Murphy waiting for it for the Riders. Just over 4 minutes remaining here in a scoreless opening quarter. Whitford's kick end over end. And that one will bounce into the end zone where Murphy will go back and take a knee as Hamilton draws first blood on the road here, a Saturday night in Regina. There's a look at the 15th overall pick back in the 2019 draft. For more on Brayden Lenius, let's send it down to Claire Hanna.
Well, Dustin, Brayden Lenius played 11 games in his rookie season, but it wasn't until last week that he scored his first touchdown. And his immediate reaction was to launch it into the section behind me, something he immediately regretted because he had promised his mom, Shauna, that she would get the ball from his first CFL touchdown. Now, the boy who caught it was 11-year-old Nixon Weeb. He heard about this story, immediately reached out to Lenius over Instagram and said, I want to give you the ball back. That exchange happened this morning, and just to let you guys know, Lenius had his mask on the whole time. He just took it off for the photo op, and he said to Nixon he'd give him some rider swag. The only thing Nixon wanted was an autograph from his new favorite rider.
Great story.
Very nice. Very nice.
Lenius, real transformation. We'll discuss that here, but first deep down the field, bouncing up for grabs as Evans tried to go back over top. Jamal rolls and get it. And Roll was able to break it up as Fajardo once again goes downfield to one of the best deep threats in the league.
Yeah, and you see as one of the best deep threats, they get him isolated. The tight end, the only other receiver on that side. Great matchup. Jamal Roll, of course, taking over that boundary corner spot from the now retired Delvin Breaux.
2nd and 10 for Fajardo. Just inside his own 30. That one up for grabs as he tried to go back to Evans again, and that was out of the reach of Shaq Evans. And that will bring up 3rd down here for the Riders. Frankie Williams will wait for this one. He's got 3 career return touchdowns, 2 of them off punts, as Mazzoli looks to once again get this offense back on track. Started the season with a touchdown drive and just 1 point to show for it since then. Ryan standing on his own 21. A low kick that will bounce at the 36. Williams scoops it up at the 29 and forced out of bounds after a 46-yard kick by John Ryan. A little bit more here on Brayden Lenius and his father, who you played with.
Yeah, a teammate of mine in the mid-90s with the Toronto Argonauts, but before that, Troy Dickey. Brayden's dad was a star receiver at the University of Arizona. Here you see him with a couple of touchdowns in the '94 Fiesta Bowl.
Massive win, biggest one in that program's history. Lenius was drafted as a fullback. Dickinson told us this week they used him a little bit as a tight end, and then they asked him to kind of slim down a little bit. He lost 26 pounds since the last time we saw him, and now he's here in the slot for this team. Banks with some room and some speed, of course, and he'll take that out, and it'll be short of what he needed for the first down, a pickup of about 7.
See Brandon Banks, and of course we mentioned the newcomers, Poppy White, Tim White in that receiving core. Jalen Marshall and Marcus Tucker got the start in week 1, but you got to bear in mind that in this receiving core, Braylon Addison, DeVere Posey, both starting the season on the 6-game injured list.
2 huge names.
Yeah, absolutely, guys that they're counting on in a big way, and Posey, of course, would add a little more size to what is not a big group either.
Back to Banks again. They're going to let him make a play here, and did he drop the ball? Looked like the whistle went before the Riders picked it up. And we will wait for the call here. The ball did pop loose, but there's been no signal. It will remain Ticats ball.
Yeah, that's out before he's down, though. And Craig Dickinson has wisely thrown the challenge flag, which was punched out as he was on his way down, but the ball's out before Banks hits the ground.
No doubt this will be a quick review, you would think, as Purifoy is there to scoop it up after it was originally batted away. Mike Edom able to get in and knock that ball loose before Purifoy scooped it up.
Yeah, this might be your best look You can see the ball out before Banks.
Saskatchewan is challenging the ruling on the field of down by contact. The play will be reviewed.
Before the knees or elbow hit the ground. That ball was, he was dispossessed of that ball.
The offenses here, both of them. We saw the Riders start great last week. Second half, really didn't do much. Ticats started really well and then really didn't do anything for the rest of that game. Both offenses here, late in this first quarter, still can't really get anything going.
Yeah, finding their way, right? A couple of good-looking plays each way, but not much continuity to be had.
After review, the ruling on the field is overturned. There was a fumble and a recovery by Saskatchewan. It'll be first down.
Could you tell by the early fan reaction that they showed the replay on the big screen before the decision was announced?
Spoiler alert here. You and I were being quiet. Here comes the announcement, and the crowd obviously fired up in a big moment in this football game for the Riders to get that ball back, and they get it back on the Ticats 50. Fajardo handed off to Powell. We haven't heard much of Powell so far here tonight, and he's going to take a loss on that one. 43 yards and a touchdown on 12 carries last week for William Powell. One of the mainstays in most fantasy lineups, I would think, in the Canadian Football League. He's been an absolute monster as of late. 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons for William Powell. Stand in there to the right of Fajardo. That's Lenius, who comes around behind his quarterback out to the right. They'll go to the left side. That's complete. George Williams-Lambert. Lambert, a nice spin move to stay on his feet. And he comes down awfully close to a fresh set of downs for the green and white.
Williams-Lambert working out of the slot. Big target. You remember his terrific rookie season in 2018. Brief NFL shot before rejoining the team for the stretch run in 2019.
You see at the end of that play, Mike Daly.
They're running in late. I think he just got caught ducking his head a little bit on contact. I suspect this is probably going to be a burner, stinger type injury that he's dealing with. Ticats starting safety Tunde Adeleke already out of the lineup. Daly, the veteran former starter, back in that role in his absence. So an opportunity now for the rookie from UBC, Stavros Katsantonis. See a little bit of time on D.
He was a first-team All-Canadian 3 straight years, 16, 17, and 2018. Made his debut last week.
Yeah, a young man who, at the U Sports level, certainly proved to have a nose for the football. Real ball hawk.
Drafted him 36th overall in 2020, and now being called upon here due to this injury to Mike Daly to step in. 5'10", 188, Katsantonis. Still tend to Daly on the far side of the field as his teammates watch on. I think it was the second sort of bump because he came in, made initial contact, then when it looked like the tackle was made, his head kind of got thrown a little bit to the side.
We'll get another look here.
There. And then right there, I wonder, that knee to the head.
And you can see them, obviously. He's moving around down there, moving his legs, but any kind of head or neck type injury, all precautions are going to be taken. But I hope Michael Daly is okay over there. Former McMaster University star.
Had a touchdown back in 2018, had an interception last year. Played in 18 games last year. great special teams guy. At 18 special team tackles last year as well, did Daly. 7-year guy, though, veteran guy in this league.
And has really become one of the senior guys on this Tiger Cat team, I think, defensively.
Well, a value guy as he starts to get up there, a valuable guy to have around, because you mentioned with already injuries, you can slide in a veteran guy like that and not miss a beat.
A guy who's been a starter. And I mean, you have to love the attitude of Mike Daly as well, where he's been the starter. They go out and bring in Adeleke as a free agent who takes over the starting spot, and he responds by becoming one of your star special teamers.
That's not easy to do as a
no, it's not.
As an athlete at any position in any league. So he is up, he is walking off, and that'll get a round of applause from a Rider crowd here for a Ticat. Katsatonis now comes in to replace Daly. It's 3rd and 1 for the Riders, looking to get on the board with less than a minute to go here in this first quarter. This is Fajardo. He will keep it. He will push ahead, and that is more than enough. What a job by that offensive line of the Riders. This thing was never in doubt. That's a first down for Saskatchewan.
Yeah, you look at the formation, there's no secret what they're trying to do with the football. From there, execution is the key. And they got, as you said, that push right up the middle. An easy first down.
Could be the final play of the opening quarter. Fajardo. He'll hand it off this time. Keenan LaFrance cutting it back at the 30, lunging ahead. And a nice pickup there for LaFrance. And that's going to do it for the opening quarter of action. The Riders marching the ball, but still trail 1-0 as both defenses on display here in the first quarter on a Saturday night in Regina. Well, not a lot to discuss offensively in that first quarter. Both teams with 4 first downs. Riders with a little bit of an edge passing, but both defenses doing a really good job there in the opening quarter of this football game.
Yeah, they are, and not a shock, obviously. Two teams that are good on the defensive side of the ball. Early season game between a couple of projected heavyweights in the Canadian Football League this year, maybe feeling each other out a little bit in the early going.
Yeah, the Ticats started so well. That touchdown to Ackland last week, nothing else offensively there. They've got 1 point so far, and the Riders offense stalled in that second half against BC, and they have nothing thus far in the football game. So they're looking to change that right now as they do have the ball. It is a first down, and it's on the 27 of the Ticats. Dustin Nielsen and Dwayne Ford with you here in Regina. Thank you very much for joining us to wrap up week 2 of CFL on TSN coverage. Week 3 begins Thursday in BC. Fajardo now. He's going to look to the end zone. Kyron Moore! No! Great coverage. But there's a flag back at Fajardo. Looks like he might have been popped after he let this ball go. Kyron Moore went up with a couple of Ticats, couldn't haul it in.
Had some separation there momentarily, but
Good foul, roughing the passer. Hamilton, number 91. Half the distance to goal, an automatic first down.
Eddie Wilson, the guilty party here for the Ticats.
Wilson getting an opportunity at that tackle spot in place of the injured Dylan Wynn. Yeah, that's one where you've just got to make a better decision, right? You see the ball go, don't touch him at all. But Katsantonis, the rookie, demonstrating his range from that safety spot, getting over to help out on the pass breakup.
First and 10 from the 14 for Fajardo. He'll keep it. Fajardo looking for the end zone. Got it! Touchdown, Cody Fajardo! The Riders go on top. He did this so often last season. 10 rushing touchdowns in 2019 for Cody Fajardo, and he's got one here tonight.
This is one of my favorite parts of Cody Fajardo's game, is the element that he adds with his legs. You put in design quarterback runs. Defensive end Ja'Gared Davis starts trying to creep down to play the handoff. Fajardo pulls it, runs around the end. Only Chris Streveler had more rushing yards among quarterbacks in 2019, and he didn't lead the league in passing like Fajardo did.
Fajardo, last year, just over 600 yards rushing, and you mentioned led the league in passing. We call those guys a fantasy monster for starters.
Well, and you know, the template was set when he was in college. University of Nevada, following in the footsteps of Colin Kaepernick, very similar type of guy playing in that scheme as a dual threat quarterback. Looks like a perfect fit for the Canadian Football League. It took him a while to kind of find his way, find his place, but Fajardo, since 2019, making the most of that opportunity, demonstrating those skills here in green and white.
Davis had that first crack at him. Lawrence got a piece of him right before he went in, but at that point, you weren't going to stop Cody Fajardo. After that fumble by Banks, it's a 6-play drive for 50 yards that ends in a Fajardo touchdown, and the home side now with a 7-1 lead. And there's a look at Evans. Looks like he's going to have his ankle, foot 10-2.
Yeah, Evans hobbled off the field after that touchdown. I'm not sure exactly what happened away from the ball. Very frustrated. Threw his helmet into the bench as he got over there. But
this will come down to Williams. Takes it on the 1. Popped hard just outside the 20. Harris in on that collision. Harris may have got the worst of that. Williams driving into him.
And this was a collision. Just crossing the numbers now is 52, Harris. Ooh.
Play major foul, unnecessary roughness, Saskatchewan number 53. 15 yards.
Unnecessary roughness. The call.
Yeah, he taking a knee on his way off. You could see by the way he landed after that collision, he knocked himself out.
You could tell right
on
away.
That impact, yeah the arms kind of limp at the sides.
And he wobbled to where he got at the hash mark when they eventually told him to take a knee. We'll get another look at it here. This is a heavy-duty collision. Williams was coming full speed ahead.
And you see it's not necessarily about the size or speed of the guys in the collision, but just sometimes the position or angle of your head on impact that determines who gets the worst of one of those.
After the penalty, that ball will be moved up to the Hamilton 38. The goalie, 70% of his passes so far here tonight have been completed. Thomas Erlington out to the flat. That's where he's going to go. That's complete. Ran into one man, bounced off of him, pushes ahead, and that's a hard-working first down by the running back, Sean Thomas Erlington, 11-yard pickup.
Sean Thomas Erlington has been a great story for the Hamilton Tiger Cats throughout his career in black and gold. A late round pick, an 8th rounder, 66 overall in the 2017 draft. But managed to earn reps as a running back. Also took some reps as a receiver, showing he could do that, he can contribute in that part of the game. Battled back from an injury suffered in 2019 to reclaim that starting job.
Missed the final 14 games of 2019, but he's back here, and they are involving him in this offense so far here tonight. Coverage of the Women's World Hockey Championship gets underway Friday from Calgary, Alberta, as Team Canada takes on Finland. Puck drop at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific, only on TSN. 1st and 10 here for Hamilton. Nothing to Acklin yet in this ball game after a great outing in week 1. We'll keep an eye on that. Thomas Erlington moves up to the right of his quarterback, Masoli. He's going to go right downfield over the middle. Diving, trying to get his hands on it was Poppy White, but it was just out of his reach.
Interesting formation here from Hamilton as they go 4 receivers to the wide side of the field. The only receiver to the other side is the tight end who's staying into block. So essentially you've got all those guys on one side, but you're giving them the entire field to get open.
Poppy White, 2019, spent some time in Jacksonville in Tennessee. First CFL catch earlier tonight, it was an 18-yarder. Here's Mazzoli, 2nd and 10. Near side, that is complete. Jalen Acklin on cue, picks up the first down.
Once again, nice concentration from the receiver. This time Acklin, 2019 East Division Rookie of the Year. Nick Marshall arrives with ill will at about the same time as the football, but unable to jar it loose.
On the 45 now, the Ticats. Quick toss there to White. White makes one man miss. Track down from behind, able to hang on to the ball. As AC Leonard came around and took him down.
You see a play like this with White working out of the backfield. You kind of think maybe this is the guy slipping into the Braylon Addison role in his absence. Addison, who was the X-Factor, sort of Swiss Army knife guy in the Ticats offense 2 years ago.
2nd and 2. Thomas Erlington spins his way to a first down and takes that ball to the Saskatchewan 30. His 3rd carry of the game. Best one that he's had so far. Ticats trying to answer back with a scoring drive of their own after Cody Fajardo put the Riders on top 7-1 earlier in the quarter. Masoli again with those 4 receivers to the left, hands it off to Thomas Erlington, and he'll pick up 4 yards on that first down push ahead.
Erlington certainly getting his share of touches here in the first half. That running game obviously a big help. Try to establish that line of scrimmage, but as well slow down the pass rushers a little bit, keep them honest, make life a little bit easier for Jeremiah Masoli.
Second and 6 from the Riders, 26 for Mazzoli. Empty backfield this time. Acklin, he's got him. Acklin wrapped up short of the end zone. Ed Gainey went over there to deny him the major. But a couple of big plays on this drive. Mazzoli to Jalen Acklin.
See good protection, clear throwing lane.
They're going to move quickly here. Mazzoli slides up. This is the first time they've been in the red zone all season. Mazzoli will look to finish it. There's a flag as he tries to push this ahead.
Looked like he bobbled that snap a little bit.
It did, didn't it? Came up short, but like we said, there was a penalty on the play. It'll be a penalty on the D-line.
Saskatchewan number 97. First down.
Keon Adams moved too soon, and now they'll have to reset. Back on the 1. Jeremiah Mazzoli looking to maybe answer what Fajardo did a few moments ago with a touchdown of his own. He will have Thomas Erlington behind him. He moves out to the right. Masoli will keep it, pushes ahead. And is that enough this time for Jeremiah Masoli? And they will say no. Comes up just short. We'll get another crack at it. Now the crowd get behind this defense.
Dion Lacey appeared to be the man who wrapped up Masoli before he could break the play there.
10th play of this drive for the Ticats. For the third time be a charm for Masoli. Goes over the top, it's batted away! There's another flag though. As he tried to lunge towards the end zone, now some pushing and shoving. That's Tim White. The Riders converge on Tim White as he tries to find some free space. Emotions running high here in the second quarter, Dwayne.
Yeah, no doubt. The Riders excited by the apparent stop. Ticats
Offside.
frustrated by it.
Saskatchewan defensive line. First down on the 1 yard line.
Get another crack at it yet again. Good job knocking that thing away. Was that Dion Lacey?
Once again, ball on the 1 yard line, so there should be, in their stance, no Rough Rider hands beyond the front edge of that white stripe of the goal line.
A fourth crack at it for Masoli. He's going to keep it again. Another flag, but this time he pushes in for the touchdown. Jeremiah Masoli. And the Ticats, after a few attempts, answer back here in Regina.
Offside. Saskatchewan defensive line. Penalties declined. Result of the play is a touchdown.
Well, they were persistent about it.
Fourth time's a charm. Here you see Masoli's going to move off center a little bit to try and find a soft spot.
Behind Chris Van Zyl.
I was going to say, edging towards Van Zyl's side, usually not a bad idea.
Probably the right way to go, especially when you've been stopped a couple of times already. So we are tied at 7. Taylor Bertolette will come out. This is his first attempt at any sort of kick in the Canadian Football League. And that is good. And his first extra point will give his team an 8-7 lead. Jeremiah Masoli, the keeper, found the space, took it home. Ticats on top.
Crown.
Look at that 11-play, 72-yard touchdown drive from the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Jalen Acklin with a couple of big catches, including this one, to set them up for a series of attempts from the 1 yard line, including a few offside penalties against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. 4 attempts to punch it in, but the Ticats finally got it done. 8-7 lead in the ballgame.
41 yards on the 2 catches to Jalen Acklin on that drive. So come down to Marcus Murphy, takes it at 9, back to the 20, no problem, 25, and that is where he is wrapped up and taken down. And let's send it down to Claire Hanna for a couple of injury updates.
Yeah, guys, we saw Ticats defensive back Mike Daly on the ground for a few minutes. He was getting his shoulder looked at on the sidelines, but he is left with a trainer and he's out of the game. And then on the Riders side, when Fajardo ran in for that touchdown, Shaq Evans injured himself. He was getting his left ankle taped up on the bench, but he is headed to the locker room. No update right now on whether he'll return.
Well, that's a big storyline for this Riders offense, to lose Shaq Evans even momentarily. We'll see if he's able to work his way back out here. But for now, no update. He was an all-star in 2019 2019, over 1,300 yards. Excellent weapon. Last season, actually, Evans, I think 20% of his completions were 30 yards down the field or further. Like, he is
Offside, Hamilton 56.
maybe the
5-yard
best
penalty.
deep threat
First down.
based on that stat in the entire Canadian Football League. And if he's got a banged up wheel, it can be tough to take advantage of that.
Not ideal for your speed guy.
1st and 5 now for Fajardo. Powell. And there are 3 more flags simultaneously on that play.
Procedure, Saskatchewan number 64. 5-yard penalty, first down.
It's Evan Johnson, University of Saskatchewan product. Was with Ottawa and decided to come back and play here in Regina. Now back to 1st and 10 from the 31 for the Riders. Trailing 8-7 here in the second quarter. Dustin Nielsen and Dwayne Ford with you, wrapping up week 2. 3 options to the right for Fajardo. Hiram Morrow swinging behind him. Lenius with the completion down to midfield. That's his second catch of the ball game. This one for 25 yards.
And Lenius was open right off the line of scrimmage here. He did a nice job of sort of throttling down and not running himself into coverage, thinking you have to be going full speed all the time. Recognized he was in a soft spot. Fajardo found him and got him the rock.
1st and 10, midfield here for Fajardo. Fajardo again, that is complete. Lenius again, and another first down, creeping towards that Hamilton 40.
And Lenius is a guy who played early in his NCAA career, started off at the University of Washington. So as a young guy, saw playing time as a wide receiver. As a freshman, eventually got bigger, ended up transferring to New Mexico State, and that's where he became more of a tight end and where he kind of remained in his first year as a Rider. But at his best as a true receiver.
Another completion for another first down as the Riders are marching this time to Mitchell Picton, who had 3 catches last week. That's his first one here tonight. 15-yarder.
Picton out wide on this one. Getting the clear and the quick little under. University of Regina product.
Fajardo now has this Riders offense on the move. Powell's going to get involved. He'll get up towards the 20, and now we're going to take a look at what happened to Shaq Evans earlier in the game.
Yeah, and Shaq Evans, way over on the right side of your screen, you can see him. He's blocking Jamal Roll as Cody Fajardo is on his way in and just gets that ankle rolled up on as the crowd comes in his direction.
Simone Lawrence attempted to stop Fajardo rolling through Evans there. Empty backfield for Fajardo. He tries to draw the Ticats. Now Fajardo. Powell at the 15, takes it down to the 11. Tied up there by Frankie Williams. Very impressive drive here for the Riders.
Yeah, well, after a little over a quarter of, as we talked about after the first, kind of feeling each other out, it seems like both offenses have found some solutions here in the second quarter. And the Riders just picking their way down the field, spreading the ball out, mixing up run and pass. Nice looking drive.
Fresh set it down from the 11. Fajardo. He's going to keep it. Scrambling ahead and lunging towards the 6. A pickup of close to 5 yards for Cody Fajardo.
And once again, this time, not on a called quarterback run, but on a broken play going off script. But you see the benefit of Fajardo's mobility in terms of keeping that broken play from becoming a negative play, a loss of yards. He turns this into a positive for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
They ended up giving him 4. It's 2nd and 6 with the ball on the Ticats 7. Riders knocking on the door here yet again. There's a flag as Fajardo rolls to his right. He's going to be pressured. Dumps it off to Kyron Moore. What an effort by Cody Fajardo. Moore takes it down inside the 5. But there was a flag that was thrown on the near side of the field just as Fajardo started to make his way out to the right. Against the Riders.
League procedure, no end, Saskatchewan. It's 5-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
Jason Moss, offensive coordinator.
Yeah, if you take a look over on this side of the field, neither of the receivers is on the line of scrimmage. So you have the offensive lineman, the tackle is the end man on the line. So you've only got 6 guys on the line, no end on the left. Somebody's got to move up.
Well, that'll bring up 2nd and 11 now for Fajardo. Kyron Moore out wide to his left. Picton on that left side as well. Here's Fajardo. He's going to look that way. Up top for Powell, and it's out of bounds, incomplete. And that will bring up 3rd down.
I just needed that 65-yard wide field to be about 67, 68.
Powell never really had a shot at that one.
Powell, an accomplished receiver as well as rusher from that Saskatchewan backfield, gets out in space, but again, Fajardo unable to connect on that.
Brett Lothar out just inside the 20. Straight on. Nails it. Not an issue there. Riders on top 10-8. Could have been more. Powell, though, couldn't haul that in. A beautiful night in Regina. Good crowd here at Mosaic Stadium. And right now it is their team with a 10-8 lead as both offenses finding some rhythm here in the second quarter after stalling more often than not in the opening quarter of the football game. Cute little guy. Oh, we just missed a lone kiss there. I think he's going to blow the nation a kiss. Lothar will kick this away. Frankie Williams just inside the 10. Williams back to the 15, now the 20. Finds some space up the middle. Williams staying on his feet to the 32. And then wrapped up and taken down right there.
How about this? You know, former opponents, Nick Lewis on the left, now at the game with his buddy Andrew Green, longtime Green Rider, great offensive lineman. Of course, Nick Lewis, phenomenal receiver.
Following us around. He was in
That's right.
Calgary,
He was in Calgary
on
the other
Thursday.
night, being honored with recent Hall of Fame electees.
He's not going to blow a kiss. Not going to happen. Mazzoli. Banks. He'll flip it to him. Here's Brandon Banks. Got a blocker up in front of him, and he'll take that out of bounds at the 45. And that looks like a first down for Brandon Banks. Ticats down by 2.
We will break down Saskatchewan's defense, and Coach will explain what happened there on the goal line. Fingers over the white line. It's fascinating, and everyone's favorite segment. Chezzy, you got screwed.
I did. It's facts.
Thank you. There's a look at Brandon Banks. While we were away, there he is again. He's still kind of reaching for his core area there, Dwayne.
Yeah, grabbing at the rib cage, diaphragm.
Mazzoli. A little bit of time. Now he's forced out to his right. And he's just going to throw that thing away. Nowhere to go. We'll get another look at Banks on that last play.
Well, you know, we'll get to that, but I got to give my first fullback love of the season. How about Nikola Klinic on the lead block here? Getting a hold of Ed Gainey. Yeah, tough to say. It didn't look like Banks took a hit to that area or anything.
Well, he told us earlier in the week as he gets older, it's more difficult to recover now. I can imagine mid-game how difficult that might be for him. Now here's Masoli. Thomas Erlington tried to find him too as his running back moved out about 12 yards down the field. It went right between his hands. I'll bring up 3rd and 10.
Talk about Brandon Banks and his importance to this Hamilton Tiger Cat offense. You know, and especially with guys like Addison and Posey out of the lineup. But you look at what Brandon Banks has done over his last 37 games, essentially 2 full seasons, averaging over 100 yards a game receiving in that time.
Absolutely incredible. Obviously what he did last season, terrific in his MOP year. Murphy will take this on his own 24. Trying to kick it to the outside, but the Ticats will have none of it. They'll get back to about the 31 after a 41-yard kick. Fajardo, great start last week. A little bit slower tonight, but he's got that touchdown. He's got his team on top, and he's 8 of 12 for 123 yards on a bad first half.
Yeah, prior to having to settle for the field goal at the end, but looked terrific on that last drive. And that in spite of the absence of Shaq Evans.
He said there's a lot going on in a Jason Moss offense. A couple of years ago, it might have been tougher to pick it all up, but he's settling in nicely there with his new offensive coordinator. Now here's Powell. Good push on 1st down from William Powell. Gain of 6 with just over 2 minutes on the clock.
There you see the Rough Riders' new offensive coordinator, former head coach in Edmonton. Craig Dickinson and Cody Fajardo both talked about what a great addition to the staff he's been. Dickinson talked about having a guy with head coaching experience on that staff, and just someone whose mind that works the way that Jason Moss has done in terms of anticipating situations, being prepared for everything.
Back to Powell again. Stays on his feet momentarily, but then is wrapped up before he can get close to a 1st down. That was his 5th carry of the football game, and John Ryan will come out to kick this thing away.
Just saw Javon Santos Knox. There's Cameron Kelly, the 2 guys joining Simone Lawrence in a rebuilt Hamilton Tiger Cat linebacking corps.
Kelly spent some time down in the National Football League, also 2019 is in the AAF with the San Diego Fleet. This ball will bounce to the 22. Williams goes back to get it, grabs it, and boy, nowhere to go. Williams wrapped up inside his own 10. 67-yard kick. Ticats will be backed up here as they start possibly their final drive of the first half.
John Ryan mixed it up, kicking to the open side of the field rather than into the boundary, giving that one a chance to get on the ground. Got a Saskatchewan bounce, Saskatchewan roll.
He loves it. Masoli maybe not so much. Starts here on his own 9. Quickly got rid of that one. That is complete to Tim White. And White takes it outside the 15. Still more than enough time to move this ball down the field after that 8-yard pickup on 1st down.
Watching a brief exchange on the field there between the diminutive Brandon Banks and the rather large Garrett Marino on that Saskatchewan D line.
Goalie in the flat. Got it into the hands of his playmaker, Brandon Banks. And that should be enough for a first down.
Yeah, Banks hesitated for a second here and then recognized situationally, I just need a few yards for the first down. Just north-south, get what you can. Everything's not going to turn into a 90-yard touchdown.
Second catch of the game for Banks. He had 12 yards on his earlier one. Banks in the slot to the left of Mazzoli this time. Mazzoli, pressure coming, he's hammered, ball popped loose. It's scooped up. AC Leonard there to gather it. And all of a sudden, the Riders will have the ball inside the 10 with less than 50 seconds to play.
Maybe making even more nervous than the scoring opportunity afforded the Rough Riders here was seeing both Jeremiah Masoli and Chris Van Zyl getting up rather slowly after this play. And I hear 99 Jonathan Woodard coming off the edge. He beat Van Zyl around the corner and looked like Masoli might have hurt that left shoulder as he got planted here.
Woodard got to him. Came down right on top of him. Yeah, you can see Mazzoli underneath there.
Yeah, kind of
in some pain.
Curled up. The debate, of course. Did he get there before the arms started coming forward? And I believe he did, making it a fumble rather than an incompletion.
First and goal from the 8 here for Fajardo. Fajardo guns that in there. Touchdown, Mitchell Picton. The first of his CFL career.
Teammates surrounded him to make sure he wasn't going to launch that one into the stands.
Cody Fajardo wasting no time after the turnover. Picton on the receiving end of this one.
Yeah, quick slant coming from the right side. Nicely delivered ball by Fajardo, low and inside where only Picton can get to it. Leading receiver in Canada West football at the University of Regina before being drafted.
Rother, extra point is good. And, well, turnovers have come back here to bite the Ticats. The fumble by Banks ended up in a touchdown. Fumble by Mazzoli, shorter field, ends up in a touchdown as well.
Most telling stat, right? The turnover battle.
Got the ball with 48 seconds, took 4 seconds to punch this one in.
See Picton, nice release move, using the hands to fight his way inside. Let Jamal roll. You see Fajardo look left, coming backside on it, finds that slant to Picton for the major.
First team All-Canadian with Regina back in 2016. Career games. First catches actually came last week. That was his second one here tonight. Riders on top, 18-8. Frankie Williams towards the 30. And with just over 40 seconds left, we're pushing and shoving. We've seen a lot of this here in the first half.
Everybody's got a year and a half's worth of aggression built up.
Fajardo chatting there with his backup Isaac Parker. Ticats trailing here 17-8. It's tucked into the belly of Thomas Erlington, and that's a nice pickup on first down here. Clock not their friend right now, but an 18-yard pickup for Sean Thomas Erlington.
And nicely timed call with the draw play. The Riders grabbing some momentum, and no doubt the players feeding off of that a little bit, getting a little bit hyped up to get after the quarterback, particularly in what they would anticipate as a passing situation.
Super late flag here. Maybe too many men on that last play. That's going to back the Ticats up here a little bit. Officials continue to discuss. Mazzoli's ready to go.
We'll take a look here. Nope, sorry. I'm counting in officials.
Those darn uniforms.
We're going to get to 14. Really only 13. Sorry about the official. I got a little excited on the telestrator. It's been a while.
That's the first time. Is that the first time you've done that this year with the numbers?
It is.
Well, there we go.
Shaking off the rust.
Hamilton had too many men in the huddle. It's a 5-yard penalty. We're going back to the point of last scrimmage. Back 5 yards. It's first down.
So an 18-yard gain from Sean Thomas Erlington, which would have been his longest of the season, is brought back. Too many men in the huddle. How much this changes things for Mazzoli with just over half a minute to work with. Taylor Bertolette, their kicker, had that extra point earlier here tonight, but has not attempted a field goal in his young CFL career. Here's Mazzoli. Back to his running back again. Pretty good job by Thomas Erlington that time. Some hands on him right at the line of scrimmage, but he's able to push ahead.
Get back to that base 5 receiver set. 9 yards to go here on second down.
6-yard pickup on first. 20 seconds left in the opening half. Ticats down 9. Mazzoli back to Thomas Erlington again. And he is taken down on the far sideline. Like the Tights there with the tackle. And the Ticats will come out to kick it away one last time with Joel Whitford.
The Ticats playing it pretty safe in that possession.
A couple of turnovers already in this game that have led to some touchdown drives for the Riders. Maybe on the line there as they play it safe, as Dwayne said. Now Whitford to kick it away. Just inside his own 25, he'll let this fly. Murphy hustling over, and that one will end up out of bounds.
That's going to hurt the field position battle, but
that's Miles Rinaldo with his helmet off. A couple of flags back by where he was at the Ticats 30. We've got penalties going both ways here.
Yeah, what could have been the last play of the half if not for the flags here. We'll see as they sort this out. Obviously one of the flags being for the punt that sailed out of bounds in the air.
Solid second quarter here for the home side. 17 points, which takes them to the 17-8 lead. Cody Fajardo, he's got 131 yards so far here tonight. Also 21 on the ground, touchdown through the air, touchdown on the ground as well. First career touchdown for Mitchell Picton summarizing the offense for the Riders after a little bit of a slow first quarter. After the way they played the second half against BC, the second quarter much needed for Jason Maas and that offense. Long discussion here from the officials. Seems like there's a couple of options here. They can take the ball where it went out of bounds, or they'll just end the half as is.
Legal punt out of bounds, Saskatchewan. After the kick, holding Hamilton. Be one more play from the ball where the ball went out of bounds.
They will take the final play where that ball did go out of bounds, which is looking like the 38. This will be a quick one.
Well,
don't you think?
Yeah, I think that explanation, came out backwards in terms of the penalties, right? Illegal
Saskatchewan has elected to decline the penalty and end the half. That's the half.
Yeah, well, I found myself wondering, you're going to take the ball just to kneel down?
Yeah. That will end the half. Really good second quarter. Slow end to the first half, but the Riders lead 17-8.
Back inside the CFL.
Down on the ground in the first half, and right now he's with our Claire Hanna.
Jeremiah, you guys are down 17-8 going into the second half. What was the message in the locker room?
You know, we just got to do us, man. We keep, hurting ourselves with penalties and turnovers. We got to take care of the ball, play smart football, complimentary football. We're all right, man. We're reloaded, refreshed, and ready to go for the second half.
You called your own number. It took a couple times. How do you get more of that offensive production?
What was that? I'm sorry.
You called your own number. You got,
yeah.
It took a few times, but how do you get more of that?
Yeah, we just got to do us. Like I said, the plays are there. Those guys are making some good plays on their end too, but, there's plays to be had, so we just got to take advantage of the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cody Fajardo, touchdown in the air, one on the ground in the first half as well. Ticats will get the ball first as this kick comes down to Frankie Williams. Williams just inside his own 10, back to the 20, and nowhere to go. Tried to cut that up the middle, and it was eliminated quickly by Gary Johnson Jr. Jeremiah Mazzoli looking to get this offense on track here in the second half.
Yeah, we'll take a look at the ups and downs, I guess, of the first half for Mazzoli and the Tiger Cat offense. Some good moments, but as you see, and Ches alluded to this at halftime, under fire for much of the first half. The Rough Riders doing a pretty good job getting after the Ticat quarterback, so they're going to have to find some ways to slow down that pass rush. Maybe move the pocket around. We saw them with a little bit of screen draw stuff.
There's Thomas Erlington. And on the ground, he was pretty quiet in the first half. Just 19 yards, only 5 carries, but through the air, that's his 5th catch of the football game.
We'll see if they try to move the pocket around a little bit with Mazzoli here in the second half as well. Some things to change it up for that on that D line.
2nd and 7. And that's a good catch once again by the running back, but covered extremely well by Nick Marshall, and Thomas Erlington had nowhere to go but down.
Marshall right on him. I thought may have been a second early, but a pretty good defensive play. You don't get coverage much quicker than that. Great job by Thomas Erlington. We talked about the work that he did to improve his receiving skills early in his CFL career.
The first 2 and out for the Ticats offense tonight. Whitford on his own 15, set to kick this away. 8 points so far in this game for Hamilton. A low kick. Murphy bobbles it. It's loose. Ticats are on it. Hamilton will take over on the Riders 40 as Marcus Murphy couldn't bring it in cleanly, and the Ticats are there to pounce.
Tyrese Beverett, the man of the moment, coming up with the recovery. We'll see who got disrupted initially. Desmond Lawrence was the man who disrupted Murphy as he tried to pick this up after the initial bobble. You'll see him on the left side of your screen get his fingertips on it. Beverette, the second-year linebacker.
Turnovers leading to points in the first half for the Riders. Will it be the same story here for the Ticats? Not on that play, as Masoli just ran out of room, and that's Jonathan Woodard there to get him again.
Woodard, the man who forced that fumble. This time he's coming from the bottom of your screen. That's kind of a tough one for the guys in protection. Okafor and the running back. Irwinton, as they couldn't see that Masoli had been forced to step up, and it just changes their angles.
After the sack, 2nd and 15. Pressure again on Masoli, and they've got him again as he is taken down by A.C. Leonard. Getting to the quarterback. The crowd at Mosaic loves it. Back-to-back sacks for the Riders D.
Got to win at the line of scrimmage, and the Tiger Cats are having a whole lot of trouble at that spot right now. Mac Henry barged through, forcing Masoli to step up and into the waiting arms of A.C. Leonard.
Ticats are scrambling here because it looks like they're going to try a field goal from midfield. This will be almost a 55-yarder. For Bertolette, it would be the first of his career.
Two men still deep for the Riders here.
Bertolette from almost midfield. He has the leg, and he misses it left. That'll be brought out by Murphy. And Murphy taken down. There's a flag on the tackle. And the Riders defense comes up big after a turnover on the other side of the ball. Masoli, no time for the Tiger Cats quarterback.
You'll see the penalty against the Riders for an illegal block here. Keep an eye on 28, Beverette for Hamilton. Watch coming from the left side of your screen. Gary Johnson catches him in the back. So the Riders will be backed up in their own end to begin this drive.
They start on the 3-yard line. Fajardo with some pressure coming. Avoids it. Makes a nice move and takes it out to the 10. Fajardo all the way up to the 20. Taken down to the 24. And Cody Fajardo, who had 21 yards on the ground and a touchdown in the first half, goes for more than that right there.
Yeah, the running ability of Cody Fajardo once again has its value demonstrated. Go from starting off inside your own 5-yard line out to the 25 and a little breathing room.
22-yard pickup for Fajardo. This time he swings it out to Kyron Moore for a positive gain.
Just take a look back at the end of that run by Fajardo. I think he came up with a little bit of a hobble there. Keep an eye on him, make sure that that's not anything lingering.
Seems to be okay right now. 2nd and 6. The ball on the Rider 29 for Fajardo. Wants to throw again, this time over the middle, and that is too far. He was looking for Jordan Williams-Lambert out near midfield, but it will fall incomplete over the head of the defender as well. And John Ryan will trot back out on the field here to kick this away. Williams-Lambert, 1 catch tonight for 13 yards. No chance for a second one there. Frankie Williams will wait in the distance as Ryan lets it fly. Williams hustles up underneath it, picks it up to 41 with a little bit of momentum, uses that to get back to midfield. And that is where Mazzoli and the Ticats will get another crack at it here as they try to get this offense on track. 8 points so far for number 8, the Ticats. Don't miss the return of the animated Trek series critics call smart and genuinely funny, Star Trek Lower Decks, now streaming on Crave and CTV Sci-Fi Channel. Mazzoli and the offense wouldn't mind beaming in a few points here offensively in the third quarter, trailing by 9. Receivers to the right for Mazzoli this time. Out to White, that's complete. Couldn't get down to the 50, close to that Rider 50, but just short of it. Tim White, Poppy White, they've included both of them in the offense a little bit here.
Yeah, we've seen a little more Tim than Poppy thus far. You know, knowing the creativity that Tommy Condell likes to employ in his offense, I think Braylon Addison is a guy who is sorely missed in this group.
2nd and 5 for Mazzoli, throwing again. This one is complete. And that is Acklin, his 3rd catch of the game, 1st of the half. And he gets it down to the 40-yard line of the Riders. Pickup of 10.
Quick hitter. Big target, shield off the defender from the football.
We were talking about it prior to the game. The biggest of the targets, really the only guy with size that Mazzoli has to throw to with some of the other injuries that they're dealing with this time. Take the handoff, and the Riders were all over, but Mazzoli stays alive. I thought I heard a whistle. And there was a whistle when they first wrapped him up. Woodard in on that again. He's having a great game.
Yeah, it's the in-the-grasp rules. Sometimes as a coach you love them, sometimes you hate them. Right, if your quarterback's getting smacked around, you want that quick whistle, but in that instance you see the disappointment for Orlando Steinauer as Mazzoli managed the escape.
This Rider crowd trying to go to work here for their defense. Mazzoli, 2nd and 18 on the 48. Has some time, rolls to his right, looking downfield, throws it downfield, picked off just outside the 25. A.J. Hendy hauls it in as a couple of flags fly at the end of the play. Some pushing and shoving down there as well. Mazzoli missing his target, waiting there with open arms. A.J. Hendy. Nice play. Third turnover of the evening for this Ticats offense. The first interception from Mazzoli, and here's another look at it.
Yeah, and it's the continued impact of that pressure from the Saskatchewan front. I mean, it's hardly revealing one of football's great secrets that it's a whole lot harder to throw the ball when you're under duress and running than when you're standing with your feet set in the pocket.
He was looking for 5'9" Poppy White, who went up to try and get it, but never really had a shot. Now Fajardo, Kyron Moore will take it at the 40, up to the 45. 3rd catch of the game for Kyron Moore.
Under Jason Moss, obviously Saskatchewan's a team that looks to distribute the ball relatively evenly to all of its receivers, but Moore is a guy who finished last year just under 1,000 yards, 996. He's the guy that you look to fill the void most with Shaq Evans out of the lineup.
27-yard pickup. Now back to Lenius, short gain before he's chopped down. If you are just joining us, Evans left in the first half, will not be returning. As Dwayne mentioned, Kyron Moore, one of the key guys for this offense now. Second and 6 with the ball on their own 50. Or one of two receivers that swoop around in behind Fajardo. Fajardo's going to look to his left. He's going to throw to his left. And that is complete again to Lenius, who's really become a go-to guy for Fajardo with his 5th catch of the ball game. That's a team high.
Here you're going to see Lenius still occasionally lining up sort of as a tight end, wingback type player, this time motioning from within the formation. Just slipping out, but yeah, he's going to have an opportunity to have a real big year.
62 yards so far here at 25 last week. Fajardo makes a couple of men miss with a nice spin move. There's a flag on the far side of the field as he rumbles down to the 31. Excellent elusiveness from Cody Fajardo. Like it's against Hamilton.
Illegal contact, Hamilton, number 25. Plays decline. First down.
All roll.
You see at the start of this, just as Cody gets ready to take off. A couple of defenders reaching at the rock there, but
this time they'll hand it off to Powell, who will push it ahead. Pretty nice pickup on first down for William Powell. That'll be a second and very manageable situation for this Riders offense, looking to pad this lead a little bit. Right now it sits at 9. Lenius, the slot to the right of Fajardo. Williams Lambert will join him over there. Fajardo, Williams, Lambert down to the 6. Into the red zone come the Riders.
Well, Fajardo stood in there and took a hit to deliver this one. Right in his face, Williams Lambert coming across the field. Big gain.
First and goal from the 6. Fajardo immediately to his right. Quick pass, almost picked off just inside the end zone. An excellent effort there from Cameron Cowley as he laid out but couldn't bring it in.
You'll see he kind of gets outflanked. The receiver appears to have some separation, but Kelly lays out to keep that one from reaching William Powell in the end zone.
It would have been spectacular if he could have held on. Now Powell to the left of Fajardo. Fajardo with a passing touchdown already today to Mitchell Picton. Fajardo quickly again, touchdown! As he hammers that in to Kyron Moore. And the Riders' lead grows. And now, full-blown fight on the near side of the field as flags fly. Frankie Williams is not happy. And now everybody comes together on the near sideline.
Well, this is just going to boil right over. Williams, at a certain point, the Rider player had a hold of his face mask. Williams put his hands back and let his helmet get ripped off, and then he took a shot in the face after that.
Trending this way a little bit throughout the night. We saw a little bit of it in the first half, but the emotions had subsided here in the second until that moment.
That's not social distancing either, Dustin.
It's bubbling over just a little bit. Fajardo, second touchdown of the game for him, an 8-play, 91-yard drive ending in the arms of Kyron Moore. Second touchdown of the season, had one in week 1.
A terrific execution. Moore finds his spot. Deontay Evans playing off. Quick hitter, and again, I'm going to go back to the running ability of Cody Fajardo on a couple of points here. And it's a difference on the scoreboard, right? You look at this particular drive, he uses his legs and puts them in position to continue the drive and score a touchdown instead of having to settle for a field goal. But even going back, when they were backed up in the previous possession near their own goal line, if Fajardo doesn't get that 20-yard run, you're looking at a decision between either giving up a safety or punting the ball back to the Ticats and basically giving them the ball back almost in field goal range. That's a swing of points. Cody's mobility has made a huge difference in this ball game, period.
Best in the league? With the ability to move that
I
ball?
think he is right now.
I think so, right? I don't think that's an overstatement by any stretch of the imagination. Over 600 yards last year. He's got 56 yards. He's leading the game in rushing so far here tonight with 56 yards on 6 carries.
And here's a look at that run to keep this drive going. And there's the strike for Kyron Moore.
Wasted no time there. Fajardo knew where he was going. Kyron Moore found that soft spot just inside the end zone. They continue to sort things out of the field. This could be a lengthy discussion. I don't know how you really sort that out without having an opportunity to look at it a few times. It's not ideal. Yet half the guys on rosters tonight in that little bit of a skirmish. The flags still remain on the field as well. Might need a second notebook.
My fault, Mama. I lost the ball. I get you another one.
Moore, that's his second of the season.
And we just talked about him.
I get you another one this game.
Filling the void. Stepping up a little bit in the absence of his running mate, Shaq Evans.
2019, Moore had 996 yards, just shy of 1,000-yard season, 6 touchdowns in 2019. Really the coming out party there for Kyron Moore, and some additional opportunity for him, for Lenius, for Picton, who got the touchdown tonight. So even without Shaq Evans, it's been a pretty good job by Cody Fajardo tonight. He's completed 15 passes, 5 to Lenius, 4 to Moore, 2 to Williams-Lambert, 2 to Picton. Okay, so it looks like Devon Santos-Knox is going to get an abuse of official penalty. And he is showing his displeasure right there as he talks towards the Riders' sideline.
Well, you're going to see Javon Santos-Knox is going to the aid of his teammate, who at this point is outnumbered 3-1 and has no helmet on. But watch what happens as he's trying to get in there to help his teammate. Incidental collision with the official, but nonetheless, that's going to be called abuse of an official. So the Ticats are going to lose their middle linebacker.
And Williams in the initial confrontation. Good pickup there to see Santos-Knox come in. You're right, didn't mean to, but it still happened. And now they will lose Santos-Knox for sure. They're just informing him of that right now. He's going to try to make a case.
Well, he's shocked, right? Because I mean, you're calling a guy for abusive official who barely saw the official, but when you look at what happened, you understand the call.
Jake Hardy is who Santos-Knox was trying to get to there.
Well, Hardy was the one that ripped off Frankie Williams' helmet and threw a punch at him after he ripped off his helmet.
He's trying to take off his own helmet there before he was pushed down by Cameron Kelly, who came in. Santos-Knox is still on the field discussing this with the officials. And yes, Jake Hardy also being escorted off
After
the field.
the play, with major fouls on both teams. with unnecessary roughness and rough play against 83 Saskatchewan. 83 is ejected. We have unnecessary roughness against Hamilton number 11, unnecessary roughness against Hamilton number 1, and rough play disqualification, physical abuse and official against Hamilton 45. The difference is 15 yards, which will be applied on kickoff.
Steinauer obviously not happy to lose his middle linebacker here.
And especially under the circumstances.
Is gone.
You know, and for Jake Hardy's a guy who's basically missed the last 2 years battling injuries. With the injury to Shaq Evans tonight, he's getting an opportunity to play a lot of snaps and then gets kicked out of the game and loses that opportunity.
So already fighting an uphill battle here, trailing on the road. Ticats lose a significant piece of their defense. As we reset things here, all of that happened after the Kyron Moore touchdown, which seemed like ages ago. So we've still got the extra point attempt here from Brett Lothar. Trying to hold. Lothar looking to push the lead to 16. And he will, as the Riders on top, 24-8, courtesy the second touchdown of the year for Kyron Moore. Second passing touchdown of the game for his quarterback, Cody Fajardo. Jeremiah Masoli down 16 with an offense that really struggled to find its stride so far in this football game and really this entire season. We're sitting here second half of game 2 and just 14 total points from the Ticats offense that many expected to be sensational this year. Here's Williams. Williams takes it back to the 19. Masoli will come back out with this offense.
Trying to get something going here. I mean, you wonder if it's anything like hockey. You know, sometimes you start a fight to try and light a spark under the team. We'll see if this works for either team. Here right now, the Rough Riders carrying all the momentum at this moment. But we'll see if the Ticats can find a little fire.
Evans watching on, very good last year, given the opportunity after that Masoli injury. Handed off, and they really haven't been able to get anything going on the ground here tonight. With close to 20 yards at the running back position with Sean Thomas Erlington, but have really not been able to establish. They've used it quite a bit through the air. They can't really get anything going on the ground.
Yeah, I mean, Saskatchewan right now is controlling the line of scrimmage.
Exactly what Steinauer told us when we talked to him earlier this week. He said we just lost the battle at the line of scrimmage in week 1, and the storyline here tonight is continued for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Here's Masoli now, 2nd and 9 on his own 20. Over the middle, Banks! Oh my goodness, what an interception! Off the hands of Banks! And into the hands of Blaise Brown. I didn't think he had a shot at it. And he went and got it after Banks couldn't haul it in, and another turnover for Masoli in this offense.
And a phenomenal effort from Brown to get to this one. But again, when you're feeling the heat, it becomes harder to throw the ball with accuracy. That one's a little bit high for Brandon Banks. Off the fingertips, Brown stays with it, picks it off the turf.
What a play.
And it actually looked almost like Banks was a little late reacting to the ball coming, because he was able to get up high enough to get it, but maybe just didn't see it coming out.
Fajardo back on the field, gets it to Powell. Powell with a hurdle over the top of Jamal Roll. nice gain on first down.
Play action to Powell in the flat.
8-yard pickup for Powell. That's his second catch in the ball game. 2nd and 2 now for the Riders. Up by 16 and creeping towards the red zone again.
You'll see the lineup adjustment for Hamilton with Santos knocks out. Patrice Beverette comes into the lineup.
Fajardo, quick fake. Now to the end zone! Broken up! He was looking again to Kyron Moore, and the Ticats would have none of it. Deontay Evans is down.
And here you'll see Moore once again. A double move, out and up. Just a split second earlier with that ball. He might have had a shot, but Stripling and Evans both able to get there and make a play.
To welcome our viewers joining us on TSN 5. Watching Top Rank Boxing. Missed some fisticuffs here, actually, earlier in the third quarter. Would have fit in well. Rother had a 19-yarder earlier tonight. He's 2 for 2 on the season. This one will be from the left hash at a distance of 34. Rother, good from 34, and the lead grows 27-8 now as the Riders taking over this football game. Mazzoli, no helmet. Evans with the helmet on, and it looks like we might be seeing that quarterback switch for the Ticats.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Tiger Cats are just looking for something to try and get going.
Something appears to be Dane Evans. We'll see if he does get in here. Last year, over 3,700 yards, 21 touchdowns, completed 72.2% of his passes after stepping in for Mazzoli this year. There's a lot of good discussion around Hamilton in training camp, like who's going to be the guy, and Mazzoli was the guy last year, so he's the guy this year.
Everyone loves a quarterback controversy, right? Except the quarterback and the head coach.
I was going to say, I don't know if Steinauer right now is a big fan of that. But you're right, they need something. It's been 7 quarters, and they really haven't been able to get anything after that initial drive of the season. So,
no, and I genuinely don't think this is a case of placing blame on Jeremiah Masoli. It's just we need to try something different because what we've been doing so far isn't working.
Williams tiptoeing along that sideline. He stepped out back at the 37, so that is where Dane Evans will get an opportunity to try to get this offense that was so good last year on track once again.
And there you see the record, 9-2 as the Ticats starter. The guy who carried them most of the way. Their franchise record, 15-win season.
So an offense that doesn't have Braylon Addison. We've talked about that a few times. And we're seeing there's been a lot of pressure on Mazzoli tonight as well. But he's thrown back-to-back interceptions here in the second half. And now Dane Evans in at quarterback. There's flags. He just takes that snap. Evans moved it quickly. A short pass as he found Poppy White coming across the middle. But like I mentioned, there were flags as that ball was snapped.
Offside. Saskatchewan number 92. It's a 5-yard penalty. First down.
And you got to believe with a new quarterback coming into the game, the Saskatchewan front becomes even more anxious, quite frankly, to get after him.
Done a pretty good job so far tonight. Look at Tommy Condell trying to something going here offensively. That's a creative play as they get the ball in the hands of Brandon Banks. And Banks will pick up the first down. He takes it up to the 51.
I was going to say, as we saw the shot of Tommy Condell up in the booth earlier, you know, if there's a guy who's going to help an offense find its way out of this, Tommy Condell is certainly one of the guys you want working on that problem. Right? Very creative and experienced CFL coach.
There's 10 seconds on the clock here in the third. This could be, will likely be the final play of the third quarter. Ticats trailing 27-8. Dane Evans in at quarterback. Riders are going to bring some pressure. He knows it. He throws it deep up for grabs over the head of everybody. Banks was heading in that direction, but he was covered extremely well as Jeremiah Masoli watches on. Dane Evans now in control of a Ticats offense that has not been able to hit its stride so far here in Regina on a Saturday night. The Rough Riders in full control after three quarters, up 27-8, 215 passing yards for Cody Fajardo. And on the other side, Jeremiah Masoli, 2 interceptions, has got him a spot out of this game on the sideline watching.
Yeah, and it's kind of the opposite of the way that things went for Saskatchewan in their Week 1 victory, where the offense got off to a great start, and it was the first half where they ran away with things. Here, it's kind of the second half where they're starting to take control, and the defense really seems to be the ones who are delivering the message.
It'll be Dane Evans who will have to deal with that Riders defense now, as Cody Fajardo very happy with what his offense has been able to accomplish so far here tonight. Evans, 2nd and 10 as we start the fourth quarter. A loud crowd at Mosaic, hoping to see their Riders start 2-0 at home. Evans. That one almost picked off. Deflected. And then falling harmlessly to the turf. This Riders defense has been all over the place here tonight. There's a roughing the passer penalty.
Major foul, roughing the passer. Saskatchewan number 74. Up 15 yards, automatic, first down.
Mac Henry.
Yeah, right on the nose. Looked like he tried to pull the hands off, or at least looked like he was trying to look like he was not intentionally making contact.
First and 10 from the 43. Evans to his right, thought about going deep, and then thought otherwise and dumped it off in the area of Papa White. It was Tim White who he had going deep.
It was Cody Fajardo that he found over on that sideline.
By accident.
He's trying to get him out of the game.
You can't rattle him? Maybe you rattle him there.
Yeah.
Second and 10 now. Riders 43 for Evans. Quickly. And that was not in sync with his intended target, Jalen Acklin.
Yeah, it looked like Acklin got tied up a little bit with Nick Marshall as he attempted his release and was late getting off. And obviously a timing route that Mr. Marshall managed to disrupt.
Taylor Bertolette. They had him try from 55 earlier in the game, and he missed. This one from just outside the 50. Looking for 3 from deep here. Bertolette, he had the leg from 55. This one is low and wide right. That'll be picked up and brought out by Marcus Murphy. Murphy to the 20, well, 15, 16-ish when he actually steps out of bounds. So Bertolette has been asked in his first 2 field goals in the Canadian Football League to go from 50 and 55. And he has missed on both of them. Late flag here
thrown just now as this offense is already walking back out onto the field.
Yeah, clearly something said as players coming and going from the field. The change of possession.
After the play, unnecessary roughness. Hamilton, number 28, 15 yards, first down.
Beverett. The penalty there. Like we said, it came out pretty late after the play. And this does move the Riders up. 1st and 10 now on their own 32. 241 combined penalty yards in this game here as we're in the early moments of the 4th quarter. Dustin Nielsen and Dwayne Ford with you. This will be handed off. And Powell, pretty good job. That's one of their better games on 1st down on the ground here tonight for Powell.
Go back, keep an eye, you can see Beverett. There's the back of his jersey in the very top right corner of your screen. Gives Luchez Purifoy a little pop in the chin.
Back to Powell again, and this time it goes for a 1st down up to the 47. We're trying to establish Powell here with the lead.
Yeah, no doubt we will see a lot of number 29 with that rock in his hands.
Back to him again, and he's making it look easy with these last 3 carries. Good chunk after good chunk after good chunk to start this drive for the Riders. 3 consecutive 8-yard runs.
I mean, you've got a Ticat defense that's been on the field a lot here in the second half, and they're having to rely on some backups who are also playing special teams now. Fatigue is going to be a factor in the 4th quarter. Keep pounding them.
And that's what they do. Back to Powell again. And that will take it down inside the 50. If you started Powell in fantasy this week, you are loving the way this game has played out leading into the 4th quarter. Opportunity for him to rack up some yards and doing pretty well on it on this drive.
You look on the Hamilton side of the ball, we just saw Tedler on the sidelines. Didn't start tonight as he's playing his 1st game coming back from injury. We won't see a lot of him, who would help the run defense. Javon Santos-Knox in the middle of that D, Mike Daly at safety. On with ejection and injury respectively.
Jason Moss knows it. And look at this run by Powell, emerging from a pile. And on the other side, he finds a 1st down.
I mean, this is the Saskatchewan Roughriders imposing their will, quite frankly.
40 yards for Powell on this drive alone after a pickup of 12 there. Riders looking to seal this thing away at this point, up 27-8. Fajardo this time keeps it nice move inside, realizes there's nowhere to go, so he just calmly ducks down, seeds himself there at the 40.
Ticats did well to react to that and get to Fajardo, because I think everyone in the building was expecting another handoff that time.
Powell's going to get a much-deserved breather here as they'll bring in Marcus Murphy, who returns kicks for this Riders squad. Will stand in to the right of Fajardo. 2nd and 12 after a 2-yard loss. Fajardo quickly on the far side of the field. Terrell Jana with the catch. That's his 1st career reception.
The Riders' 2nd round pick this year. BC native out of the University of Virginia.
Bring up 3rd down, so Lothar comes out to go back to work once again from about the 41. Two for 2 tonight. Perfect on the season so far for Brett Lothar. 41 just inside that right hash. And this one also good. Lothar remains perfect. Riders comfortably on top. Nick Marshall had 5 interceptions back in 2019, and he had a pick 6 in week 1. He's got 4 career interception touchdowns. That's a franchise record, tied for the franchise record. For more on Nick Marshall, let's send it down to Claire Hanna.
Yeah, Dustin. And Nick Marshall tonight has 5 defensive tackles. He leads everybody on the Riders defense, but he is undeniably the Riders' pick 6 king. And his teammates think he is so good at baiting the opposition's quarterback because he played quarterback. He was in college at Auburn. He led them to a SEC championship in 2013, also had a 9-1 record. And they think that, well, Dickinson rather thinks that that offensive experience allows Marshall to read the play faster, and the head coach says he's never seen a good defensive back who doesn't gamble, but he asks that they only do it 85% of the time, and if he gets one more pick 6, then he will become the Riders' leader in that department, guys.
Completion there to Banks, but really nowhere to go. Is Marshall tonight making an impact as well, Dwayne?
Yeah, he certainly has. I mean, you know, no pick 6s, but any ball that happens to get completed near him, there's a hit made right away there. You see him just disrupting the timing of the route. He is a presence, you know, but I mean, in terms of the quarterback move, turn cornerback phenomenon, you think of 2019, he and Trey Roberson, right? Roberson 7 picks, Marshall 5 picks, getting in the heads of their former quarterback brothers.
Evans down the field is trying to find Poppy White. By that time, it was Ed Gainey in coverage. That will bring up 3rd down for the Ticats.
Gainey and Marshall, a couple of veteran guys on that boundary side of the Rider secondary.
What is it about this Hamilton offense that just isn't clicking so far? Is there anything that's jumping off? Is it not enough protection in the line maybe that's causing some issues?
Well, losing the battle at the line of scrimmage has been a big thing. Right? I mean, your quarterback playing under fire, it throws off timing of routes. Obviously, it throws off your accuracy in the passing game. And tonight, it's led to turnovers as well.
30-8, the Riders lead. Canada's biggest day of racing takes place on Sunday, August 22nd, with the first jewel of the OLG Canadian Triple Crown. Catch the 162nd Queen's Plate at 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 Pacific on TSN and CTV. Evans looking for some answers on the tablet. Mazzoli couldn't find them either. Look at that. Wow. They're having fun here on a Saturday night in Regina. Don't bring Kermit back up, boys. I don't think I can keep her together. See that?
Well, the saying was it ain't easy being green, but I think the Rough Riders are disputing that with their performance tonight.
Can't believe Fajardo's even. It's terrific. 2nd and 9 here for Fajardo. Ran one in, thrown a couple. Quick little fake there. He's going to keep it right up the middle. Cody Fajardo turning ahead. And you know what? I think he just earned his team a 1st down, a big one.
It's hard to believe that in 2018 this guy was buried as a 3rd-string quarterback in BC.
Got 66 yards on the ground tonight. Talked about having last year taken away from him when he finally emerged onto the scene. What was it, 2 years in Toronto, a year in BC, waiting for his opportunity. Got it, led the league in passing, then had to wait 20 months to play football again. Not an easy thing to deal with mentally, I would think.
Yeah, no, it's, you know, and he acknowledged it. There were times where the thought of winning the game crossed his mind, wondering if he was ever going to get his opportunity.
That's his wife in the crowd.
And quite frankly, one of the people that's kept him going. Something for which all CFL fans should be thankful. we have the opportunity to watch this guy do his thing.
Excellent talent, no doubt about it. 2nd and 4 here for Fajardo. He's going to keep it again. This time the Ticats, they sniffed that out. They're there to wrap him up. Eddie Wilson in on the tackle. And Fajardo, looks like he's limping a little bit there, and he was earlier in the football game. We caught him after that big run coming out of his end zone. Picked up about 22 yards. Came up limping there as well.
You wonder if at a certain point here, you know, it's obviously tough to close out games in the Canadian Football League, but you wonder if at a certain point the Riders might try to take the opportunity to get him out of the game, get Isaac Harker some reps.
A little Isaac Harker time, possibly in the forecast somewhere here tonight. Less than 6 minutes to go. Ryan set to kick this away. Let it fly from his 10. Booming punt. Comes down just inside the 35. 57-yarder for Ryan. Will be returned by Williams. Takes it back up close to midfield. Fumbled that ball. I'm not sure if he was already down. I think we're saying he was. It squirted out. Bounced back around. Kermit can't handle it. He bet the over. He's rattled. Week 3 just around the corner. We'll have the BC Lions going up against the Elks, who are looking to find some offense. That starts on Thursday. Stamps and the Alouettes, Bombers and Argos in a rematch from Week 2. And the Red Blacks will be right here in Regina next Saturday. Ticats, they've got a bye. They're trending towards heading into a bye at 0-2, which is not ideal for Steinauer and his staff.
That makes for a long week. Long bye week.
Especially when you came into the season with everybody having very high expectations.
Yeah, well, the Grey Cup favorite amongst a lot of those making such predictions.
They're not at home until week 5 with the bye, and then into Montreal. They looked pretty good earlier in the first half of our doubleheader. Evans, Acklin reached up, tried to get his right hand on it. Marshall was there. Marshall's telling him a chance. Oh, and now we got more pushing and shoving back at the 50. Looks like players are trying to sort this out themselves a little bit. And Evans and the offense look like they're going to stay on the field here. You're down 22, 3rd and 6. Evans, since coming into this game from Mazzoli, just 2 for 7. It hasn't been a magical switch that's worked entirely here for the Ticats.
Yeah, not exactly an optimal situation for success as a quarterback coming into the game at a time where you as a team are pressing to try to make something happen. There's a certain predictability in the fact that they have to throw the football, which makes the task of the Hamilton offensive line in terms of protecting your quarterback that much tougher.
Crowd here at Mosaic has kicked it into high gear. Evans rolling to his right, pressure coming, gets it away, and there's a flag. Looks like there's one flag for sure. I thought the official was going to throw another one down, but I think it fell out of his pocket. Yeah, because Banks was the intended target there. He was held up a bit. It looked like the official went to reach for a flag, but then it just fell out. We know for sure there's another one back at the 50.
Yeah, A.C. Leonard was off and running by the time that ball was snapped. I'm not sure if he was drawn, but he certainly appeared to have a head start on the play.
Holding, Hamilton number 60. Pass interference, Saskatchewan number 3. This penalty is offset. 3rd down.
The Riders in a pretty good spot here, but they've taken 20 penalties tonight. It's almost triple what they had in week 1, yet they're still up by 22. We'll replay 3rd down here. Evans gets another crack at it. trouble. Leonard is there. They're all over him. Nowhere to go for Evans as he gets a taste of what Mazzoli was dealing with for the first 3 quarters of this football game.
Yeah, this one went off the rails right away as he had trouble handling the snap, and the bounce brought him out of the frying pan and into the fire, so to speak, as basically he had to step forward to get the ball, which just put him in amongst that Rider defensive line.
That was 3rd down, so a turnover on downs here. And Cody Fajardo will remain in the game despite being a little bit hobbled. Just over 4 minutes to go. They got a 22-point cushion. And they'll start with the ball smack dab at midfield. Powell to his left. They fed him rather steadily on that last drive. Will they do it again? It looks like it here. Powell finds a hole, picks up close to 5 yards. Here's a look at the resume of work from Fajardo today.
Yeah, and he's looked pretty good, and it's been a terrific day for a dual threat quarterback. Did a nice job throwing the ball and has been tremendous running the ball for these Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Nothing in the first quarter. They were scoreless in the first quarter, but put up 17 in the second, 10 more in the third, and they've got a field goal from Lothar here in the fourth. There's an injured Rider down on the field right now, which gives Fajardo an opportunity to chat with his offensive coordinator. And on the other side of this thing, the Ticats, it's just 2 weeks, right? Or in a shortened season, like, you start to get concerned after 2 games like this?
It is early, and, you know, I mean, as we have said many times, defenses are going to be ahead of offenses to start the season. Have we seen some offenses better than others? Yeah, we certainly have. And that's going to happen too. People are just at different stages in terms of developing what they do and fine-tuning. You know, I don't think that for any team, you look at Hamilton, you look Edmonton struggling to put points up. Calgary struggling to put points up. I don't think it's time to press the panic button anywhere. It's a unique year.
Fajardo, high snap, gets it, stays on his feet, he's gonna take a shot deep. Picton goes up for it, oh, and he almost had it. Looked like he tried to get his right hand on it and bring it down and lost it at the bottom. But a nice effort there in one-on-one coverage by Mitchell Picton going against Frankie Williams.
The ball didn't quite have the distance as Fajardo had people in his face as he tried to throw it. Picton couldn't quite get the box out here. You see him trying with that left arm. But Williams kept pretty good position.
Williams now stays on the field, waits back for this kick just inside his own 10. Ryan standing on his own 46. Williams backpedals, takes us at his 2. Up to the 10. Williams now, nowhere to go. Kites down the field, wraps him up. Riders 2.5 minutes away from a win here at home. Well, it's been a warm night here in Regina, but Riders fans will deal with that as they're on the verge of a 2-0 start, which is huge. We talked about it with Cody Fajardo a little bit earlier in the week, saying how big of an advantage is it for you not to start with 2 games at home, but 4 games at home in front of this crowd, Dwayne.
Yeah, and a chance to make hay, right? We have talked for many, many years about the 13th man that exists when this team plays in this city. And not knowing, obviously, the home and road schedules are going to balance out as the year goes on. So not knowing what the back end of the schedule is going to look like, you don't want to be in a position where you're up against it on the road coming down the stretch. You got to make hay now when you have the opportunity with these home games, when home is as friendly a place as it is for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
10. And Nick Marshall is going to get caught here as he pushes Ackland out of bounds. It's a 20-second penalty on the Riders tonight.
Pass interference, Saskatchewan, number 3. It's a 10-yard penalty and a first down.
Pick your brain a little bit here, Dwayne, on the bye week for the Ticats. They made the quarterback change in this game. It hasn't led to anything, really. What do you think happens over the next couple of weeks for the Ticats?
Yeah, obviously an interesting time for them. And typically when you're looking to make significant changes, the bye week is a time to do that because you have extra time, extra practices to get people up to speed. But I'm just not convinced that, Dane Evans I'm going to back that up because I'm saying my words in the wrong order. Dane Evans is a terrific quarterback, and he proved that in 2019. But I am not sure that Dane Evans, given the struggles they're having, makes them better than they are with Jeremiah Masoli at quarterback. So if you came out of training camp believing that Masoli's your best option, he's your number one guy, I don't know that I've seen anything through 2 weeks that makes me think differently. I think that there are just other things as an entire offense that need to be worked out as opposed to seeing a quarterback who's just, that he's playing poorly and that's the biggest issue.
Might have been a different story if Evans came in and looked great here today. Then there might be a discussion, and we know there's going to be discussions anyway across the league about this, but.
Yeah, and it might frankly also be a different discussion 9 weeks into the season as opposed to 2 weeks into the season.
Evans 3 for 8 since coming in. He just got sacked there by Gary Johnson Jr. His first sack in the Canadian Football League. He was fired up by the Texans on the practice roster last year. Here's Evans now, 3rd and 15, far side. And that one never really a chance at it for Tim White. That'll be a turnover on down, 6th turnover of the game for the Ticats. 2 fumbles, 2 picks, and 2 turnovers on downs.
No, I wasn't shocked to see Cody Fajardo still in the game last series. I'm a little surprised to see him still in at this point. You're primarily going to be handing off the ball. He doesn't need to be the guy to do that. You get a fumble or something, somebody rolls up on him.
They'll hand it off to Powell, right up the gut, and picks up close to 8. He's been on that steady diet of 8-yard gains in the 4th quarter. Came close to that again. And give him 6. Just over 90 seconds left. Parker last year, 44 of 61, 467 yards passing in the opportunity he was given. No touchdowns, 3 picks. .80 seconds on the clock. 2nd and 4 here for Fajardo as the Riders look to wrap this thing up. Back to Powell. Powell pushes ahead once again. It's a first down there. Powell's over 70 yards on the night. 43 last week. We talked a lot about offenses, and I know there was that second half last week against BC, but this is a Riders team now that has put up 33 and 30 points so far on the season.
Yeah, I'm not fully buying into to my theory about offenses being behind, maybe.
Maybe not these guys. I think the rest of the league probably agrees with him. That's without Shaq Evans tonight. One of the bigger storylines. I know here in Regina, that'll be much talked about all week. Left the game, could not return as he was blocking on a Fajardo touchdown earlier. I'll hand this off to Powell again, and that takes us inside 50 seconds at Mosaic.
And you look at both of these teams, and they've undergone some changes on their offensive lines since the last time they played football. Hamilton trying to find their way a little bit, where Chris Van Zyle's been banged up. They lost Riker Matthews in free agency, Mike Filer to retirement, and that may contribute to some of their struggles. You look over at Saskatchewan, you know, you've got a couple of new guys starting at tackle. Logan Ferland, the former Regina junior, starting for the first time, seeing his first action. But they've really found their way, it seems, especially in this ground game as this game goes on, just building their confidence.
Happy Saturday night for the thousands in attendance here. It's my second game in Regina with the CFL and TSN, and just the buzz around the hotel. You know, it's just early in the day, man, everybody is fired up for this game tonight. Interesting hat.
It's supposed to be a watermelon.
Times are changing with these young kids now. And Fajardo will step up under center here to seal this thing away. Excellent night for Cody Fajardo. Excellent night for the Riders on both sides of the ball. They go to 2-0. Dwayne, your takeaway from tonight here with this 30-8 win for Saskatchewan.
Yeah, I mean, Saskatchewan was impressive on both sides of the football tonight. Cody Fajardo, an MOP candidate in 2019. Looks like he's right on track, and defensive coordinator Jason Shiver is doing a tremendous job with that group, getting them off to a quick start as well.
Everything is great in Riderville. Cody Fajardo, 222 yards passing tonight, 2 touchdowns through the air, tacked on another one on the ground. On the other side for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, questions at quarterback after they go 0 for the Prairies and head in to a bye week winless. For Dwayne Ford, I'm Dustin Nielsen saying goodnight from Regina. Let's send it back to SportsCenter.